Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday. I almost said it was Friday. I don't know where that came from, but it is legit for real Tuesday. Noonish, as I usually like to come to you on Tuesdays around noonish. So today, I want to talk to you about choices and specifically what leads us to make those choices. And so many things. We've all heard and know the phrase, change is inevitable, but growth is optional, right? We know and we've experienced, even in ourselves and in others, of a fixed mindset, which is really the opposite of a growth mindset. A growth mindset means that you know that you don't know everything, right? You know that you haven't experienced what others have experienced. Therefore, you can't speak into a circumstance or a situation as well as maybe someone who has lived it and experienced it. We are in such a pivotal place right now in our culture. There is so much that has happened and that is happening that is disrupting our status quo. And I've written about this before, but status quo is actually a term for the mess we're in. Isn't that interesting? But yet so many of us are comfortable in the mess that we're in. It's by choosing not to do something that in itself is making a choice. So today, I want to share with you an acronym that I came up with, I want to say 4 years ago, maybe longer. And it came across my radar this morning in my quiet time. And I was thinking about, choices, and specifically in seeking truth and seeking truth for ourselves. So often we get very comfortable in taking someone else's word for it, which is good in some ways to people that we know and that we trust, and someone that has built up that relationship of trust with us, right? But there's so much going on right now that we have to be diligent in seeking out truth for ourselves. Social media, the media in general, is quick to formulate opinions and fact for us. And a lot of times we can get sucked into the headline and the sentiment of something and perpetuate it and keep sharing it. And maybe we didn't even read the whole article. Maybe we don't even know the basis behind where that phrase or something came from. So my encouragement for today is, let's think about choices. And I'm going to run down this acronym that I created a while ago, and I hope that it helps you. It was good for me to revisit today for myself and really made me think about some things, and I hope that it does the same for you. And this might be something that you want to jot down. You have a piece of paper, just write down the word choices, long ways, just C.H.O.I.C.E.S. And I'm going to give you a word for each of those letters and see if this resonates with you. Okay. So, every day is a new day to grow and make progress. And in order to do that, we have to have that growth mindset. So when it comes to owning our own choices, we have to think choices. C is for circumstances. Circumstances do not dictate the outcome of a situation. Just because we are in a particular circumstance does not, I want to use the word authority, doesn't give it the authority to dictate how that circumstance plays out. You know, it makes me think of each one of us has our own story, right? And it's literally being written. How it ends, you know, is based on our choices. Like, think of those choose your own way books when you were a kid, right? You know, you get to the end of the page and it's like, if you want to open the door, turn to page 45. If you want to stay in the room and turn around and go back, turn to page 32. You know what I mean? And depending on those choices, something else will happen. And you continually have to make choices, right? And by choosing to do nothing, that in itself is a choice. So C is for circumstances. Circumstances do not dictate the outcome of a situation, but my response can. See, we can't always control what happens to us, but we can certainly control how we react to it. There's a big difference between react and respond. React is just letting your emotions do something. Respond requires some thought, some pause, and thought towards, you know, maybe if I choose this, what could happen? If I choose this, what could happen? So one of the things I always like to say is feelings follow choice. You know, anger, frustration, fear, those are all feelings, and our reaction or our response to those feelings are what gets us into or out of situations. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on. The letter H. The letter H is for help. Am I seeking the help and support and resources that I need? A lot of times when we're struggling with something, whether it could be anything, it could be something very personal, it could be something as simple as I don't know how to use this new program that I downloaded. I need help. We live in a culture that thrives on shaming and blaming rather than holding each other accountable and coming from a place of service. We're oftentimes taught that asking for help means that you're weak or that you simply don't know what you're doing or you're over your head, or, you know, we want to blame. Well, if you didn't do this or say that, you wouldn't need my help or whatever. And we really need to reframe help. Help is a good thing. It's what keeps us moving. It keeps us growing. And sometimes we don't want to ask for help. And sometimes we see people who need our help and we don't want to help them because they didn't ask for it. So H is for help. O is for opportunity. Opportunity is both something that we take, and it's also something that we can give. Oftentimes we're so busy looking for opportunities to serve ourselves, we're missing opportunities that could serve someone else. So O is for opportunity. C is for our circumstances. They don't dictate the outcome of a situation, but our choice, but our response or reaction does. H is for help. Are we asking for help in the areas that we need it? Are we giving help where we see that it's needed? O is for opportunity, not just looking for opportunities for ourselves, but also looking for opportunities to help others. I is for inspired. Are we living a life that's inspiring to others? Or are we so busy looking for others to inspire us so that we're motivated to do something? You know, we get motivation is a huge industry. People make money off of selling motivation. But here's the thing. It's a big business because motivation wears off. Motivation wears off as quickly as you get motivation to do something. The key is to be inspired. Inspiration is an internal thing. Motivation is what happens when you're inspired. So we have to be mindful of where our inspiration is coming from and what it is that we're inspiring others to do. Okay, so I is for inspiration or inspired. C is for commitment. Got to ask ourselves, am I committed to learning, growing, improving? Some of us can get so caught up and comfortable. We're so committed to staying where we are, to blaming and shaming and making excuses and anything but learning, growing, and improving, right? So C is for commitment. Check your level of commitment. E is for example. And this one kind of goes in with inspiration and inspiring. But E is for example. Is we have to ask ourselves, is my life an example or is my life a warning? And for some of us, it really depends on who's watching. Isn't that interesting? You know, it goes back to that like definition of character. Character is who you are when no one's looking. So E is for example. Is your life an example or is your life a warning? S is for success. And this is another huge money-making industry. There are people that will convince you that they can sell you success. How is that even possible? Especially since success can only be defined by you. You determine what is successful for you and your life and your situation, your business. What is a success to you? You have to determine that. So be wary of people who are trying to sell you success. Nobody can sell you success because they don't know your definition of success. They'll give you standard definitions of what successful looks like to society and culture and things like that. But you have to make sure that that aligns with who you are and what that means to you. Success to you could be completely different than success to someone else. So how could someone else come along and decide, you know, hey, you know, I can sell you success? I'd be wary of that. Okay. So one thing that we can agree on that would make us all a success is that if we focused more on who we're going to be more than what it is we're trying to do. Does that make sense? Who you are is more important than what you do. What you do is not who you are. We can get caught up in this like identity crisis of we are our role. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a teacher. I'm a coach. No, those are things that I do. That's not my identity. Okay, so a little something in there. This was a little bit longer than I expected. This was supposed to just be real quick encouragement about choices, but once I get talking, it's hard to stop. So to recap, choices, C.H.O.I.C.E.S. C is for circumstances. Your circumstances do not dictate your outcome, your reaction, or your response does. H is for help. Are you asking for help where you need it? Are you giving help where it can be given? O is for opportunity. Not just seeking opportunities for yourself, but also seeking to give others opportunity where you're able. I is for inspired or inspiration. Who's inspiring you? Who are you inspiring? C is for commitment. What is your level of commitment to learning, growing, and improving? E, example. Is your life an example or a warning? Success. Again, only you can define success, but true success comes when you know who you are, and that dictates how you show up and who you are in what you do, but it's not what you do, or yeah, you know what I meant. So I'm going to drop a link to a printable in the comments that actually has this acronym written out for you if you wanted to print it and remind yourself what that is. So I encourage you today to not only think about what you think about, but choices. Okay. And I will drop that link in the comments so that you can have that printable. Have a great day, and I will see you live again, Lord willing, next Tuesday. In the meantime, keep an eye out for a new website coming soon. So excited about that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys soon.